Hey, guys, welcome back to the biggest agricultural platform in Namibia, which is called Induna Wengombe. Not Induna, Nduna Wengombe, which means headman of cattle. My name, of course, is Mitchell Mutumba Simata, aka the not the Induna, but the Nduna Wengombe. But I can say the Induna Wengombe. It's my mother tongue either ways. So today I want to speak of another cattle breed, a European cattle breed. And this European breed derives its name from a place in the UK. This European breed is, of course, the Hereford. The Hereford breed of cattle have taken their name from the country called Herefordshire in the West Midlands of England. So this is what a Hereford looks like, guys. So now this breed today, beside it depriving its name from the West Midlands of England, the breed today is found almost all over the country, all over the world. It's a breed that you can find today in the American prairies. You can find it in the South American pampas. You can find it in the Russian steppes, and you can also find it in the Southern African field, which is now including us. So I got this information on an interview that was done on a Hereford breeder here in Namibia by Farmers Weekly, Mr. Heinz Kuhn. So Mr. Heinz Kuhn says, the Herefords were first imported into Namibia by a gentleman of the name Boran von Wolf in 1918. And the first stud, which was Kalahari Rand Herefords, was established in 1954 by Fritz Kuhn. The country's Hereford stud industry currently consists of about 459. So it's a small stud, but it has about 459 registered animals. One of the problems that had to be tackled from the onset was the Hereford's thick coat. Being an animal that comes from the United Kingdom, we know the English weather is cold and snowy, so these animals came with that thick winter coat to Namibia, which was not really ideal. Needless to say, this was ill-suited to the Namibian heat, where temperatures commonly range from 30 degrees Celsius to the low 40s. The thick coat also resulted in tick infestation, particularly if you're farming in a tick-prone area. Hairier animals with thick, hairy coats, the ticks love those because it's easy for them to hide. So, through strict selection, Namibian Herefords now boast short, smooth coats. In winter, small curls are permissible, but in summer, the coat must become smooth again. So as you look at this bad boy here, you see him as a smooth-coated animal with no curls and whatsoever. It's a smooth-coated animal, and that's what they ask for. So this has been the main change. This is the only change they've done. Other than that, the animals still look like the original Herefords, with red, white face, white brisket, underline, and a crest, switch, white switch, legs below the knee, hooks, and the hooks you can see below the knee and hooks, where the animal is white here. You guys can see that. So it keeps that. That's how they traditionally look. I know some Simmentals also look like this, but this is how the original English Herefords look. Their counterparts in the UK look like that. So they continue saying their selection principle. So the first thing they say, unprotected eyes and a lack of pigmentation around the eyes is a big no-no for the Hereford society. The selection principles are based on limiting exposure to outside irritants and direct radiation from UV rays. To achieve this, hooded eyes are crucial. Namibian breeders select for strong eye banks, deep set eyes, eyes protected by downward pointing eyelashes, and eyelid pigmentation. So I believe this bull, just doesn't have the eyelid pigmentation, but it probably meets the other things that I mentioned there. Deep setting eyes, downward eyelids to protect it from the outside irritants and so forth. The hooded eyes prevent contamination by foreign objects as do the eyelids. The Herefords are a medium frame animal and have strong legs, enabling them to traverse relatively long distances between watering point to grazing points on widespread farms, further underscoring the breed's adaptation to the Namibian conditions. Our Herefords, Mr. Hans Kuhn said, our Herefords are fertile, efficient, and easy to manage because of their even temperament. They also excel in meat quality and contain ample DNA markers for meat tenderness. Hereford is unsurpassed at converting grass into meat, with a uniform fat covering on the carcass. It is also a first-rate choice for crossbreeding programs. The nickname the breed has is the breed that made grass famous. That's the nickname the Hereford has. Hereford bulls add to increase profitability in a cow-to-calf operation. So if you're going to do farming by producing calves, it works like that. Because of a shortened gestation period. For Hereford seared calves, this is on average 3 to 5 days shorter than calves seared by most other beef breed cattle. So you might see a difference when using a Hereford bull on your cattle when you compare. I'd love to do this comparison, the Simbra and Hereford bull, and see this gestation period that this gentleman said, but I'd love to see it with my own eyes. But he says that the gestation period with Hereford bulls is shorter. It would be shorter, 3 to 5 days shorter than those of seared by other beef cattle bulls, maybe a Simbra or a Brahman. The difference would be there. So it goes on to say, Hereford's low birth weight correlates with the reduction in calving difficulties. Hinds of Otongovi stud, for example, maintained an average intercalving period of 38 days in 2017, and an average birth weight is 38 kgs to 40 kgs. Heifers are weaned at 205 days at an average weight of about 230 kgs. And bulls are weaned at about 205 days at an average weight of 240 at the same age as the heifers. Characteristics of the breed. The Hereford is highly adaptable to feedlot production. So if the gentleman asked me about feedlot and what breeds, you can also look at the Hereford breed to feedlot productions and an intensive system. The breed is and an intensive system. You can run it on that. In South Africa, they do a performance testing. Has been compulsory since January 1982. Herefords were re-evaluated and selection was directed towards traits of economic importance: fertility, milk production, growth, and carcass quality. A full-grown Hereford bull could weigh about, remember, the weight of an animal all depends on the conditions the animal finds itself. 816 kgs. A female could weigh about 544 kgs. But this could depend on wherever you are farming and the conditions. Remember, conditions play a big role. They say average birth weight, as the gentleman said, here could be 38 to 40. Others say it could be 35, 38 to 40 kgs. But I know a lot of people who say an animal that has a 40 kg birth weight is too high. So if you're going to consider breeding with Hereford bulls, and you're buying it from a Hereford breeder, from Mr. Hines or whichever Hereford breeder near you, probably tell him you're looking for a bull that you're going to use in a cross-breeding program of indigenous cattle with a low birthing weight. I think 30, 35, that could be fine with some indigenous cattle. You don't want to get something that has a very high birth weight. It might cause problems. And this could help, as they're saying they have very good tender meat. And I think that's what a lot of butcheries are looking for, succulent meat. Butcheries and abattoirs, succulent meat, soft, not too hard. You don't need to be, you just want taking nice bites from it. So those are my 2 cents on the Hereford breed. Do I have any experience farming them? I didn't have the luxury of farming them. I have seen them. And not just that, they're also used in cross-breeding programs. I have seen Brafords, which is the crossbreed of a Hereford and a Brahman. That's one that I have seen, that I've actually witnessed. It's a very beautiful cross. It crosses well with Brahman cattle. I'm sure they also used in other cross-breeding programs. I believe Bosmara also, hey? I believe they used the Shorthorn and the Hereford. I believe the Shorthorn, the Hereford, and the Afrikaner, if I can recall properly. I believe it was also used in that. So it's a breed that does well in cross-breeding programs. If you want to run them in cross-breeding programs to improve, as I said, your profitability, weight, for winning weight, meat quality, and also calving ratios, if you want to improve them. They're highly fertile animals, very fertile, very good mothers. It's a good mothering breed also, very good, very alert, but very even temperament. Doesn't mean it's still very protective of its calf, but it won't chase you over the fences like other breeds would. But like I said, I haven't really farmed them. This is on the research that I've done. And I said they do very well in crossbreeding. I've seen a lot of people use them for crossbreeding programs. I know one gentleman, one friend of mine was crossbreeding them of his Brahman cattle because his Brahman were not really producing milk. So he started using Hereford cows, and the Brahman Hereford crosses, the Brafords that they have, are very good for milk. So you can use them in feedlots, farming, whether you're going to cross or keep them pure. It's all up to you. But when you buy them, when you buy this breed, as I said, the birthing weight is at 38 kgs. That could be sometimes a bit too heavy for some indigenous animals. Like I said, Anguni, or also known as a Sanga, its birthing weight is 22.8 kgs. So you might have to ask the breeders to give you something with a low birthing weight, as to avoid bulls that are giving calves that weigh 40 kilograms at birth. You want to avoid that. So guys, those are my 2 cents on the English Hereford. There are a lot of English breeds, and I will touch on them, and I'll touch on various English and African breeds. I will give them all. I'll give them all enough time so I can ventilate them properly. But as I said, I got this information from Farmers Weekly. This was an interview done, I believe, back in 2018, 2019, somewhere there, by a gentleman, by a Hereford breeder, the owner of Otongovi Hereford, Mr. Heinz Kuhn, who farms here in Namibia. I believe he farms in the eastern part of the country. So this is his words. I took his words, the research I carried out, I took his words and I presented what he had said on the Hereford cattle. So with that said, I just want to wish you guys a lovely Monday evening. May you guys enjoy it with family and friends. And now I just want to salute you guys and say bye for now.